You're listening to the Board Game Snobs podcast, a ridiculous podcast with ridiculous hosts that discuss ridiculous things. And any mention of board games is purely coincidental. And so, without further ado, and with a heavy dollop of shame and embarrassment on my part, I give you the Board Game Snobs.
Go.
Welcome to the greatest podcast that you're listening to right now. Board Game Snobs. I'm clicking my pen. I gotta stop clicking the pen. You can't hear my air filter thing behind me. My room
I'll noise reduction it out.
purifier. I keep one in each bedroom and in my main living room. That big white box you seen. I don't know if it does COVID, but it's a HEPA filter. HEPA. So it helps you.
HEPA you out with your breathing.
It does. And it keeps the bugs out, which is probably why my allergies...
What about farts?
You can't run from farts. There's actually a science behind that.
Go ahead.
Though I don't know the science, but I looked it up and read about it one time. Because have you ever...
Because there's some drag. You produce drag.
No.
Like the curvature of your buttocks is like a wind tunnel. It just like sucks the farts
No, it's the
there.
Particles.
It's like a...
All right, two things I do know that I will hit you with that. You can look up the fart thing later. This is Jerry, by the way.
I'm done. This is Gabi. Hello.
Two things. One, when dead bodies are decomposing, there's a certain day for which the molecules and such are decomposing off their body, that they're really bad. And if you walk into that, those molecules stick to your clothes, and that you will never get that dead smell. It's like day 4, I think. Something like that. I forget which day it is, but it's when the body has been decomposing for some time. You might as well just throw your clothes away. That's number one. Number two, dogs with big ears, they smell with their ears. I did not realize that to hear recently, but dogs that have shorter ears, when they run, they're
Chihuahuas.
Yeah, they don't have any big sense of smell because nothing's wafting up the air around them. But bloodhounds, things of that nature, have big, longer ears. When they run, their ears are actually wafting up, and that's stirring up those molecules into their nose. That's why
No wonder I can smell better than most people.
Certain breeds of pit bulls, like in Hawaii, have bigger ears, have ears like hounds because they're using them to hunt hogs. I think it's Hawaii.
Interesting.
I know. I'm knocking it up.
Semi-interesting facts.
Bad news, because the rest of this podcast, I'm going to go right out here.
That's it. We've peaked.
I don't have my sidekick with me.
We've peaked at banter.
Because I took Enrique with me kayaking in Beavers Bend, Oklahoma. And this man, because let's remind all of our listeners, Enrique is a full-grown man. All right, he is not a child.
Is that describing something a beaver can do? Beavers bend?
I think there was
They flex, they thrust.
I think it's just a bend
They wiggle.
that they found a lot of beavers. Because we do put in our kayaks right
bend in the river.
at the bend where the runoff, the
there's
dam.
the bend where
where
all
the
the
dam's
beavers are
at.
at.
There's a big dam. And they blow this...
And look, we're not going to do any lowbrow damn jokes.
They blow a purge siren right before they let the water out. And I made the mistake of camping
Purge.
right before that. And I'm sitting there like 4 o'clock in the morning. They blow that siren. I'm like jumping up thinking, well, it's not tornado season. What are they doing? Is it the purge?
The purge.
And unfortunately, that's how...
happens once a year.
My poor...
They got Enrique.
I got on there. I started strangling Enrique. This is for all those times. Who would you take out in the purge?
No. It's just for the water.
Let's not do who would we take out during the purge.
Please don't.
Because that would be...
that's dark.
That would be super dark. But anyways, someone else who's very dark.
Much like Enrique's legs.
Enrique
so I hear.
got crispy. So we're halfway down this like 4-mile stretch of this class 2 rapids.
Painful.
He says, nobody offered me sunscreen. I'm applying.
Oh, so it's your fault.
Yes. I'm applying out of my dry bag. I'm taking out my SPF 110 because that's the bare minimum I have to use. I have to use solar, like reflective stuff to keep the sun off me because I'm 75% Irish. I crisp underneath a 60-watt bulb. I can't go out in the sun. So I'm slathered. I look like powder. All right. And he's like, I don't know. I don't have any. I don't.
You were like moving your Lucky Charms around just to get the cream on underneath.
You betcha. And I missed one little spot, like a little 1-inch square on my left knee.
The size of a 4-leaf clover.
On my left knee.
On your left knee.
I've been limping ever since. It burnt me so bad. You see my knees? Have you seen my knees?
I've seen your nephews.
Ha! See that knee?
Well, that is red. You got some color.
I know.
Look at you.
Enrique
and that color is red.
Got burned bad.
So you've never been brown in your life. You've been white or red.
I have been so white, like you would lose me in a snowstorm. I used to be bleach blonde. All the kids in the family are born bleach blonde with blue eyes. And then our hair slightly darkens and the eyes turn green. But this is the darkest I've ever been. This is the most sun I've ever had. And I'm still like white. Like I'm raising up my Steelers shirt.
I'm pretty white when I...
No, you're cream.
I don't have any sun.
You're cream.
That's true.
So anyways,
like
but yeah.
Almond.
So Enrique calls me today and says, hey, I know we were going to go bowling, which I told him he was going to go bowling, and I wasn't going bowling.
Well, before that, for this recording session, I called Enrique and I said, hey, I'm going to run to Jerry's because we need an emergency pod for this week.
This is an emergency pod.
We're down and we're out. We don't have any. I said, I'm making a special trip to Jerry's. I'm going to just drive up there, record, go home, edit, get it ready to go out the next day, pretty much. Enrique says, can't go. Oh, no.
You can't go.
Are you sick? You got to work? I'm burnt. So apparently he's immobilized.
Yeah, he called me right after that and said, he never calls me. Except to call me to say, hey, let's pick me up so we can go bowling. So when he called me to tell me I can't go bowling. I can't move my arms. And his words were, I can't go outside into the sun. And I could tell in his voice he was in pain, which is a rare thing for him.
So did you go yesterday?
Yes, it was Sunday. I went Sunday.
It was especially hot.
Sunday afternoon. Incredibly hot. Southeastern Oklahoma, 110 degrees.
And of course, on top of that, you're on top of the water with the sun reflecting upon you. You're toasted from you might as well be in a tanning bed.
Hillbillies tubing down the river, drinking.
And they weren't worried about the sun.
They don't care. They're so burnt out anyways.
They're bright red as it is.
Bright red. All right, what are you doing?
It matches their noses.
Yeah. So anyways. So yeah, that's what I did. And you cornholed.
I cornholed. Actually, I cornholed one game.
And switch yourself.
It was literally, I stepped outside and I might as well have been swimming through the air as thick as the humidity was here. Mm-hmm. Absolutely atrocious. I said, this is the day my friends decide to do things outside? Cornhole, volleyball?
You got poor friends up down Texas.
So we did play one game of cornhole. I said, that's it, I'm done. But volleyball, I love too much, and we did play about 6 games of volleyball, and it was fun, and I was sweaty, and I took a shower at my friend's house. I brought clothes, changed out of everything, changed out of my soggy underwear.
Did you know how to operate their shower?
I said, ma'am, miss, friend of mine, may I use your shower? And she said, yes, please.
Wow.
So I went in there and showered. That's how bad it was.
I don't know if I want you using my shower.
What's that?
I just don't know. This is weird.
You know, these days
That's a personal thing.
Working from home,
as you are now,
you're not you don't feel the compulsion to shower as often as you do. So it's like I have to tell myself, oh, I need to shower because I'm not getting dirty per se.
No,
I'm not working hard, sweat pouring from my brow anymore.
To give you just an idea of how far away I am from you in this topic, I went outside to walk something to my shed while you were on your way here, which is about, it's like 30 yards from my house. I walked back to my house.
Stone's throw, one might say.
And got in the shower because company's coming.
No, you're missing my point.
I've showered twice a day. I change my underwear thrice a day.
Now, changing underwear is basically showering.
Oh.
But here's what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. I
don't
sweat.
Change your underwear.
I don't sweat.
You don't sweat.
I don't sweat anymore.
What happened?
I stopped going outside. Jerry, I don't leave the house from Monday morning when I start answering phone calls till Friday evening anymore.
You've become a hermit.
I'm a hermit.
No wonder you left your home and drove an hour to come to my house. That's
Yes,
weird.
I needed to get out.
That's interesting.
I don't know who I am anymore. I'm literally in the home. I am in the home from Monday morning
You're homebound.
until Friday evening. Pretty soon they'll be craning me out if I'm not careful. Be cutting a gobby-shaped hole out the side of the house.
That's no
And
move.
here I come.
Stop that. Stop that.
Pizza the Hunt.
Pizza the Hut. Speaking of friends, we have an email from Adam M. that is very tardy. It was mailed. It's emailed to us January the 13th. Now,
If you're tardy once, but then you're tardy again, what would that be?
I thought you were about to. Did you hear me suck in and breathe and get ready to swallow the laughter? I thought you had a pun lined up
There's
there.
a Pete and a repeat joke, but I don't think you can do that with tardy.
Oh, okay. I thought you had something planned. I thought I walked into a joke just then. So when you start with that cadence, I automatically start swallowing so I don't bust up laughing.
Well, I mean, there was a joke there. I just didn't make it because I'm very PC these days.
Oh, are you?
I try to be.
You're not an Xbox fan. You're a PC now.
I'm a PC guy.
All right. Squirrel fall damage from Adam M. This gentleman emailed us.
That's his last name.
Adam. Hello, Adam. And we're tardy in reading this email because we generally flag these emails and his slip through, but we don't ever delete anything. And Gabi reads through our emails for fun. Hey, Gabi and Jerry. Should have put Jerry first. First off, I love the podcast. Found out about through Sporadically Bored and is now one of the podcasts that I listen to as soon as it hits my feed.
I'm done use.
Don't do this. I am listening to some of your backlog catalog. He didn't say backlog. He said back catalog. I said backlog catalog. And I just finished the episode Autism and Board Gaming when Jerry started talking about squirrels being immune from injury or death from falls. I saw that. I want to see. I even decided to write in before Jerry said at the beginning of the listener email portion that someone would send an email about squirrels. 7 years ago, I was walking my beagle, Charlie. That's what I like. When people name... This is a side point here. When people talk about their dog, and they say, tell me what kind of dog it is so I can picture it. And if you want to add their name, tell me their name. That's important because I will judge you by 1, your dog, and 2, what you've named said dog. Okay. Charlie, for a name of a beagle, is a solid name. Okay? I know you've never had a dog. Have you?
No.
You've never named an animal.
Cat guy.
You're a cat guy, which is why you're inside the house.
All their names are like Fuzzy.
And soon you will have multiple
Socks.
cats. You're turning into a cat woman.
True.
Around a neighborhood apartment complex, there was always a load of squirrels.
I do love Bruce.
Knowing that my dog would never be able to catch a squirrel with his hound bark and with me holding the leash, I pointed to the squirrel and shouted, Charlie, get the squirrel. He put that in parentheses.
Charlie, get the squirrel.
As usual, Charlie bellowed as he ran and gave the squirrel ample warning to run up the nearest tree. Unfortunately for the squirrel, though, the nearest tree was a sycamore tree. I added that because we call them sycamores here. We're not sycamore.
Sycaless.
If you do not know what a sycamore tree is, they are the ones that look white when their thin bark falls off. A quick search suggests that their range stretches as far as at least parts of Texas and Oklahoma, so maybe you have them there. I really like the fact that he said, Adam, write us again. I've already tell you're one of these people. You're good at emails. Anyways, when the squirrel hurried up the tree, it grabbed onto some of the thin bark, and the bark separated from the tree. The squirrel fell 20 feet, hit the ground on its back, gave a twitch, and went still. I watched for a few minutes and expected the squirrel to stir and run away, but never did. Charlie and I finished our walk, and it shocked me at what I'd seen. I'm sure that Charlie never forgave me for letting him have the squirrel, and I told him to go get. Now, assuming the math on squirrel terminal velocity or squirrelminally, I don't know how you say that. He made up his own word. Maybe the squirrel wasn't actually killed by the fall.
Squirminal velocity.
Squirminal.
I've reached squirminal velocity.
The squirminal list.
Oh, you gotta be nuts.
Did you watch that? With Chris Pratt. The squirminal list. All the squirrels that's done him wrong. Where are my nuts?
You cheeky.
Okay, that was good because they put the nuts in their cheeks. Maybe the squirrel wasn't actually killed by the fall. Maybe it had a heart attack or something. I don't know. I never called the coroner acorn-anor. Okay, first off,
There we
stop.
go.
Okay. See,
Adam, I like this guy.
I never read this email till just now. So Adam wrote a coroner, and then he puts like parentheses, acorn plus coroner, and then wrote, works better said out loud than in written form.
I don't know. I never called the corner. A corner? Corner. That's good stuff.
A coroner.
Adam's a man after my own heart.
It's just a guy that works at a coroner's office, but he's kind of nuts. You know, a coroner. All right. Hopefully a couple puns lighted up to the end. Looking forward to many more. Thanks. He's from Indianapolis. That's why he's so weird. Indianapolis is that race car place, isn't it?
That's where Mike's from as well. Mike Delicio.
Well, Adam, thank you for doing a good callback.
That
on
was
our
delightful.
Squirrel fall damage.
Squirminal velocity. I like
All
that.
the squirrels in the area that I've moved to have been viciously killed.
By what?
Okay, so when we moved here, I wanted what many people in the South have called a barn cat. Now, a barn cat's not like a domesticated cat like you have.
Do squirrels get nut cancer? I hear it's squirminal.
So a barn cat is just a wild, semi-domesticated cat that you still want to keep its instincts to where it will attack and kill varmints, but you don't keep them in the house. You don't. They're not part of the family. They're more like a hired hand.
I was going to make an instincts pun, but I shied away.
Basic instincts. Okay. So we have like a little shed. So we have
It's not that little.
a so-called barn cat.
You don't have to be so modest when it comes to your shed.
My shed's large. I
We're
like
not
big
gonna
barns,
shed- we're
and
not-
I cannot
We're
lie.
not gonna
Okay.
shed shame you.
Okay. All right. Let's shed some light on this subject here. My barn
It's
cat.
a watershed moment.
My barn cat has killed everything that moves because she is so efficient, and I didn't realize this. So we adopted her. We rescued her. We didn't. The neighbor gave it to us. And she will climb trees, and you'll watch her go up a tree, as I did one morning sipping coffee, and then hear a rustle. Not crow, but a rustle, and she will come out of the tree with a squirrel
Husband to a murdered wife.
in tow.
Father to a murdered son.
Squirrelus Maximus. And she'll kill squirrels. She'll go up in the tree and then just plummet to their death with them.
I wonder if he ever just said, my name is Russell.
That's a crow. That's not a crow. That's a rooster. That's a rooster.
Rooster Cogburn.
That's a rooster. Roosters do crow.
Russell.
Wait a minute. Why do roosters crow?
I see.
But crows don't roost.
Crow's caw.
What do caws do? They drive really fast in Boston. Get to the car. No, that was a.
You set yourself up.
I did. You know how hard it is to go from a Russell Crowe. That was like that Kevin Bacon thing. Russell Crowe. What do crows? Crows don't rooster. Roosters crow. Crows caw. What do caws do? It's Matt Damon. Get in the car. Get in the car, Ben.
I do not know this man.
Listen.
You get that right.
I blame Adam for this. Adam, because he started this. Anyways, so we read an email. We're very sorry for taking so long to not read your email because we really do try to engage our fans. Adam, if you're...
Because it's very hot.
Adam, it's very hot. January 13th, he sent this. And it's like, what is this, July?
I mean, we give it a good 6 months to,
That's our turnaround.
stew on it.
Well, it takes us a while. Anyways, thank you, Adam. Very good. So next, I want to bring up, several weeks ago, with our dear friend Bruno, we did Den of Wolves, the mega game at BGG. And we desperately wanted to play this with Gabi because Gabi wasn't there the first time. Our crispy friend Enrique and I did it back in November. Please go back and listen to that episode regarding our little foray into our first mega game. And we wanted to introduce Gabi to it. And so Gabi, who is, I wouldn't say that you're a wordsmith. You're a punsmith. Like you do good one-off. Like you do a good
Every now and
tagline
then.
every now and then.
Every now and then. I'm a modest person.
But not like full-thrown description of your feelings.
No, God, no.
So, thankfully, God has provided us with something called ChatGTP, which has been driving me insane here lately because I keep seeing all these things pop up saying, why aren't you doing this with ChatGTP? You can make tons of money. I don't know what people are using ChatGTP to do. It hasn't helped me. I've asked it questions. I spent up all night talking to it one night. It's basically Enrique on the internet.
Did you download one of those, like,
I do.
The female versions? Are you lonely tonight? Here's your female chat AI. Hey, Martha. How are you tonight?
That explains so
fine.
much.
I am fine.
I keep asking.
How are you?
Keep asking it to make these PowerPoints. It's like giving me these really suggestive answers. Okay. Then it kind of explains it.
Would you like to go? Here's one.
I downloaded Chad GTP. I'm sorry.
And it just started, you want to come on down here?
Yeah. Well, what you been up to?
What you been up to? Eating
Come
some
on.
good shrimp lately?
Come on down. We'll drink some monsters and punch holes in the drywall.
So.
That's Chad.
Chad GPT.
He drives a GT. GTO.
GTO. Let's see.
So.
Stop. Hold. Okay, yeah, what I was going to say doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter because
So
you
let's go
put
back to
everything
this.
that you were going to say into ChatGTP.
So I cannot say words very
You
good.
can't emote.
I can't say words. Like it's hard for me to be descriptive and all this stuff with what I say, and much less, I'm not going to write it down because who has? I mean, I get what do they call that, carpal tunnel syndrome.
I don't have nothing written down that page. I just showed you. I'm sorry.
So I mean, I used to keep a journal. I see your little drawings.
I don't have anything written down for this podcast.
So I was like, Chad, GPT, tell me how I felt about this. And I told Chad in so many words how I felt going in, the reasons I felt that way, the type of game it was, Den of Wolves, social deduction. It's a large group of people.
It's Battlestar Galactica, basically.
Yeah. And then I said, this is how I felt coming out of the game.
And then it
And
formed
Chad.
words for you.
AI, GPT. Is it GPT or GTP?
I'm going to look up what the GTP. I'm going to ask it what does the GTP stand for.
It doesn't know.
I'm going to ask Chad real fast. Go ahead.
And I told it to write a letter to our listeners.
But so you read dramatically, if you would, what
Okay.
Chad kept. And the reason that we're being so meta about this, and you know I hate how meta
Because
we
we
are.
could have just said, hey, I wrote this.
Yes. But
You wouldn't have known.
because like we all, listen,
You might have thought, wow, he is a wordsmith.
everything. Have you read Richard Simpson?
It's all fake.
Richard Simpson's blog here
Everything's
lately.
fake. Oh,
Everything.
is it?
Everything's fake.
Richard?
Dick Simpson. He doesn't even exist anymore. I'm pretty sure he's ChatGPT.
He's an AI.
He's an AI, which explains so much.
He's like an animatronic. There's just a
Come to my show.
Richard Simpson.
Every time you hear he does impressions of me, sounds just
Been to
like,
Scotland.
he sounds like a robot
I've
doing
been
an
to
impression
Scotland
of me.
Yard.
Yeah. So I don't even know where Scotland's at.
It's not real.
It's not. Never
It's
seen
in
it.
fantasy movies.
So
When you go into Sherwood Forest, it becomes a fantasy world and you end up in Scotland, which doesn't exist. It's at the end of the rainbow where the pot of gold is. So Chad, the GTP robot, said, this is how you feel, Gabi.
it stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. The GTP, Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer.
Are your children having a techno dance?
I'm sorry. Okay, so hey, Jack's been really getting into the raves here lately, I guess.
I was wondering what all the glow sticks were for.
I hope he didn't get into my Heineken. What are they doing? Read your thing. I'm gonna go get my kids to calm down. No,
let them have fun.
It's bothering. No,
let them have fun.
I will not have.
You're
my
only a kid once.
Kids be depraved
for like 18
What
years.
are they watching in there?
Maybe I thought they might do. Remember that old Nintendo dance where you have to step on the steps like front, back, jump.
Dance resolution?
Yeah, revolution. Or resolution.
Resolution.
That's what Tron did.
Yeah,
De-resed.
Well, I didn't like the revolution part because it gives the
Dance,
idea.
dance, de-resolution.
Calls back to the French Revolution.
He just dies.
I'm not big.
Just upload Tron to Dance Dance De-Resolution. He's just like, all right, game over. That was fast.
It's France Revolution, and it's a dance thing.
Tron humor.
All the France Revolution games
People,
are
nobody
dancing.
cares about Tron. It flopped. Tron Legacy flopped, and I loved that
I
movie.
love Tron. That was a great show. Who was in that? Was that what's her face? The lady with the deep blue
I
eyes.
do not know this man.
The
He
deep
was
blue
in it.
eyes. The deep blue eyes.
It
Munn.
was the other one.
Olivia. Munn.
Yeah, Munn might be the right one.
I'm pretty sure Mum's
There's
the word.
two of them.
And I really like her eyeballs. I don't find.
That's a weird.
I don't like. Now, here's a weird thing. It's just her eyeballs.
Oh,
Everything else
she had
about her.
pretty eyes is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that her eyes are pretty. I just like them.
Olivia Munn's the wrong one. It's the other one that was married to Ted Lasso.
Who's Ted Lasso?
Who was married? That's not his real name. I don't know. I don't live in the real world. I live in the Tron world.
Of Chat. You use ChatGPT. You use ChatGPT one time. You come to my house with like some sort of blue bodysuit driving a Tron motorcycle.
Jason Sudeikis' wife.
What's Jason Sudeikis? You're making up names. These people don't exist.
My God.
You're in the Matrix.
Who was he married to?
Olivia Wilde. Olivia Wilde. Okay. Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, she does have some striking eyes.
Those are fake.
They're AI?
I think they're
AI?
Hey. That's how you know she's not French, because they can't do the Parisians. They can't do the A, because that's what Bruno taught us at French Revolution.
Okay.
Bruno, a great dancer. You go ahead and read your ChatGPT thing. I'm going to go shut down the rave that my kids are having in the next room.
So Chad GPT told me this is how I felt. Dear podcast listeners, let me tell you about Den of Wolves, a game I hated. Here's how it begins. I found myself at a large social deduction gaming event filled with excitement and anticipation. I was filled with excitement and anticipation, not the gaming event. I was filled with excitement and anticipation. The room was alive with vibrant energy as players strategized, alliances formed, and trust was tested. Like just right off the bat, people were like, all right, here you go. Here's your rows and go. And people just started talking to each other.
You're freestyling. Stick to the script.
Yet, amidst the laughter and camaraderie, I was plagued by a paralyzing sense of anxiety and social fear that threatened to consume me.
You punked out.
The parameters of the game itself were vague. My role in the game was particularly vague. As gameplay began, I was stricken with sadness, as I had no idea what to do, or how to do it, or who to do it with. It was overwhelming. So many people doing so much, yet I had zero comprehension of how to fit in. I was overly stimulated, underwhelmed, overly anxious, and sad, all at the same time. In that moment, I made a difficult decision. I chose to leave, to retreat from the overwhelming sea of faces and the daunting task of engaging with others.
Like I was.
It wasn't an easy choice, as I looked Jerry in the eye and I said, I've got to go. I can't take this anymore.
Can I pause right there? And can I insert something?
Go ahead.
So, all right, I could tell, because this was a few hours in to the game, that when you told me you were going to leave and didn't feel it, I felt okay in that you did that, because it was obvious it wasn't clicking for you yet. And I felt bad for you, because it really felt like the game just didn't land for you this time. Go ahead.
No, it did not. It wasn't an easy choice, but it was the only one I felt capable of making at the time. The weight of my anxiety hung heavy on my shoulders as I walked away, feeling defeated and disappointed and sad that I had disappointed others. I felt I had let everyone down, in particular, my friends Jerry and Bruno. Enrique remains completely unaware of most things, quite frankly. But that's okay. So I don't know if I did this or Chat GPT. Never mind. of most things. Okay, so that's Enrique. Enrique remains completely unaware of most things, quite frankly, but that's another story for another day. Okay, this one's about me, not Enrique. So anyways, I walked away. I left the room. I walked outside, took a breath. I had quit. I had given up. But life has a way.
It finds a way. Life finds a way.
Life has a way of presenting us with opportunities for growth when we least expect it. Little did I expect to grow at BGG Spring. And so it happened that I found myself drawn back to that very gaming event. I hate to quit things. I really do. It nagged at me. I was angry at myself that I was unable to initially persevere. But something deep inside me yearned to conquer the fears that held me back, to reclaim my love for a gaming event that at one time the very thought of had thrilled me. And so, armed with determination and a newfound sense of purpose, I stepped back into that room, trepidatious, yet determined to finish what I had started. The familiar faces greeted me with warmth and understanding, creating a safe space where my anxieties could begin to dissipate. With each interaction, my confidence grew, and my social paralysis began to loosen its grip on me.
SP.
Members of the control group asked me if I was okay, and what could they do to help me? What could they do to make this a pleasing experience for me? The cockles of my heart began to warm at their sincere interest and genuine kindness towards a complete stranger they saw in distress. I explained to them I was lost and anxious. They gave me a specific task to perform, and with that, I was off. As the game unfolded, I discovered the power of vulnerability. I realized that it was okay to make mistakes, to stumble and falter. In fact, those moments of vulnerability allowed others to rally around me, offering support and encouragement. The game became a platform for connection, not just competition. In the end, I emerged from that event not only as a player, but as a victor over my own fears. The anxiety that once held me back became a catalyst for growth, a reminder of the boundless strength within me. I learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, but rather the ability to confront it head on, to push through the discomfort, embrace the possibilities that lie beyond. My journey serves as a testament to the transformative power of perseverance and self-belief. It reminds us all that we are capable of conquering the demons that haunt our minds and preventing us from experiencing the fullness of life. So I implore each of you to reflect on the fears that may be holding you back, the anxieties that whisper doubt into your ear, knowing that you have the power to overcome them, to face them with unwavering courage and determination. I kind of want to start pounding the podium right now.
Do it.
Embrace the unknown, for it is often within those uncharted territories that we find our greatest joys and discover our true potential. So there it is. I have told you about Den of Wolves, a game I hated, but I now adore.
So that was all from ChatGTP.
There was a few things like the cockles of my heart. Clearly, man.
And this is supposed to be what's going to take over the world.
That was it.
That was soulless.
That was like, well, I mean, I think I added something with my vibrant reading.
Yeah,
of it.
but the core of it was just pablum.
I mean, it was just, what do they call that? Platitudes. Like all of those were like cliche platitudes you hear, like conquering your self-doubt and all that stuff.
That it was supposed to be like Terminator.
Squirminator.
Like, I expected a squirrel to come busting into the... Wouldn't that be weird? With, like, dark sunglasses.
And his little furry tail, and it's like he got
in,
one red eye.
One red eye, come in and kill us. He's from the future.
Okay,
come busting in.
Okay, come on.
Listen.
Stick to it.
I'm sticking to it. I'm just saying is that, number one, that chat GTP, I would have much...
Is it GTP or GPT? I don't want to keep getting that backwards. You've already forgotten.
I can't even look it up. I went and got me another rum and coke.
Just say AI chat.
The AI chat.
Okay.
AI chat.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay.
That's the Italian.
Hey.
That's the Italian chat bot. Hey.
Okay.
Listen.
I was about to start doing stuff.
Don't
stop me. Okay.
I stopped you.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Mamma mia. Yes.
You made me stop.
I'm sorry. I can't help myself.
So, let's step away from the whole AI discussion for just a moment and let me go further into Den of Wolves slightly. That's basically it.
Can I give some context to Den of Wolves overall?
Go ahead.
Okay, so for instance, if everybody who's familiar with Battlestar Galactica, Den of Wolves is basically that. It's a mega game set up with multiple tables. Each table is its own ship. Each ship has essentially its own captain and crew and so forth. Multiple people at each table, 4 to 7 people, and then each ship can be combined with other ships as their own nation. Those nations will have counselors. Those counselors meet with the president and so forth and so on, pass laws, so forth and so on. And everybody's on the watch for wolves, which are basically Cylons, which are basically AI interpretations of people, which is very weird that ChatGTP now wrote all your feelings about Den of Wolves. Either way, it's an amazing game that's played over a period of all day long. And unfortunately, and this was the first misstep that we had, and let's just focus on your experience in this game. We'll talk about mine and Enrique's another time. I wanted to be the president because I'd played this game before. So we arrived early, and I took the position of the president. And for some reason, Gabi wanted to be kind of connected with me and my ship. I made you the Secretary of the State.
Well, I wanted to be with you because you knew the game, and I thought, well, right, I'll stick close to Jerry. And he'll kind of show me the ropes.
Also, Bruno showed up unexpectedly, and I made him my vice president. So I have two people.
Unexpectedly, but in the fact that he actually showed up, you had told him about the game and invited him.
I begged him to come.
You didn't think he was going to show.
I didn't think he's going to show. When he showed up, it's like, okay, this is my VP.
And I'm going to say, I don't know if you're going to go into this later, watching Bruno
first off, overwhelmingly loved by the other 40 people playing the game. Oh my
God. He loved this game and the game loved him.
Yes, this was Bruno's game.
He was like, just bam. I'm like, have you played this before? Mm-mm. And no, he's just like making moves.
He literally sat down and says, what does the vice president do? I said, look, I need you to be my right hand. I'm going to talk to you about stuff, and then you go out and glad hand people and just make sure that whatever I'm talking about, make me look good. The whole game was, and Bruno was out there just politicking.
And so anytime you're playing one of these styles games where like, we have a whole several rounds that surround Bruno and whether or not he has betrayed the whole game in the game of the game.
Everybody thought Bruno was a traitor because of one I don't want to go into this, so make me mad. But one incompetent mix-up by the Admiral, everybody was blaming on Bruno. And the fun thing was that everybody still liked Bruno, even though they thought he was. They were like,
and I had to invest. Okay, so we're getting into something. Okay, so let me just say real quick.
There was a part of the game. There was a part. I'm sorry. There was a part of the game where people were so demanding to investigate Bruno for being a traitor, and I literally screamed. I was so frustrated because I knew he wasn't a traitor that I yelled out loud, he can't be a traitor. He's Canadian. And they just looked at me so odd. Like that was like a thing. He's like, he's Canadian. He's fine. Trust me on this. And then the last thing that happened in the game was Bruno was justified. He was not. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
He showed himself to be a good man.
The other problem that happened was that you were the Secretary of the State.
Okay. The Secretary of State had the most vague job description, and that it didn't have one.
Okay, and here's the problem. I made the mistake of thinking this would be good because I could kind of direct you to do stuff, and unfortunately, right away, I got tied up into a big debate.
You were in meetings constantly trying to save the fleet.
So the last thing I told you...
So I'm just like walking around. Okay, so here's the thing. So I'm thinking this is kind of a classic... I don't know. I was thinking most people have rules, specific jobs and rules. Like Enrique, last time I remember, you said he was in charge of either food or water.
And literally, just to give context, again, this game went on for like 8 hours. Enrique was at another table. I had zero interactions with that boy. I never saw him. I told him to be the captain of a ship. He said, I don't feel like I'm qualified. He was the first officer, and all I know, we need Enrique. I wish he hadn't burned himself. He was over on another ship, and he was rocking it. That's all I know.
So I remember Enrique saying his job in the previous game of Den of Wolves.
He was an engineer.
He was over like water.
Mm-hmm.
So they were delivering water. But most people in the ships and tables near us, they had these abilities and things. And I kind of heard them like trading. Well, I can do this for you if you do this for me. So then that got into my brain. And as Secretary of the Fleet, I had nothing to offer other than I work for the president. We can grant you some, maybe make a law. I didn't know what to do. Like literally, they throw you into this game and it's like, okay, now go play. And I'm like, what?
And I made the mistake at one point catching you, and you were saying, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, just think of what the Secretary of State do. And you said, who's the Secretary of State? I said, like Hillary Clinton. And immediately you deleted all your emails.
So I started got rid of my emails.
See, that joke would kill if it was 2016. We're only like 6-7 years behind. Anyways, but no. So, but what happened when you told me about lunchtime that you were leaving? And I was like, I get it. I felt really, really bad.
And it was like a combination of being socially overwhelmed, overstimulated. Like there was a room of how many people?
40 people.
40, 50 people.
And to give more context, the rounds were 30 minutes apiece. And the first 18 minutes was everybody milling around talking. And then the next 12 minutes was everybody at their table discussing strategy on your ship. So it's literally like 20 minutes of you running around talking and people wheeling and dealing and spreading rumors and fighting and things and strategizing. And it's all social. There's not much game mechanic other than socializing. And so that's horrifyingly overwhelming if you're introverted and also don't have a clear understanding of what you're supposed to be doing.
And I needed a rule set in front of me saying, okay, I need to do this. And I did not have that. There was a vague one saying, okay, Secretary, basically you're kind of the captain of this ship. But even of our particular ship, there wasn't a whole lot to do.
But there's two things that saved the game for you. The first one was done by the control. The control are the people who run the game. And this gentleman, who was also at my first game of Den of Wolves.
I mentioned him when I said this.
Absolutely did exactly what you want somebody who's running a game day to do.
So after I had left the game, and I could almost get emotional over this. This is how much it touched me.
Touched by an angel. This man was an angel.
He was an angel.
What's that woman's name?
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
No, that's not her.
Oh, no?
No.
Seventh Heaven?
No. Touched by an Angel was a show. It had the Touched by the Angel lady. But it wasn't Jennifer Love Hewitt. It was and then there was another woman, and I can't remember the name. It used to come on after a favorite show that I used to watch.
Jane Seymour?
No, Jane Seymour was
Quinn.
Dr. Quinn, medicine woman, who Sully, the guy, the Native American, who was obviously not a Native American in that show. You got to tell me right now. I've watched Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
I don't know how, because it's absolutely. You might as well, did you watch it right after Walker, Texas Ranger?
I have seen every episode of Walker, and if you besmirch Walker, that's not Walker. First off,
that's Conan doing Walker, Texas
Oh,
Ranger.
that's Conan. Besmirch the name of Walker. Cordell, listen.
He always showed that skit.
He pulled the handle. He pulled the handle. There was that.
And the little boy says, I've got AIDS.
Olstein, what's his name? Not Olstein. Jamie Olstein. That's the preacher.
Joel Osteen. Haley Joel Osteen.
I've got AIDS.
Okay, we're getting off course.
Listen, stay on topic.
Okay, so back to the control group and of Den of Wolves. And so I left the game. I was frustrated and sad because I was so looking forward to it. I know Jerry, he kind of doesn't care, but I know he kind of cares.
I care.
He wanted me to enjoy this game.
I desperately wanted
I said,
you.
Jerry, it's not clicking. I'm miserable. I'm lost. I'm overwhelmed. My anxiety was kicking in. And I know anxiety is like this, what are they, a blanket statement these days, but it really was it was bothering me.
I knew you were wussing out.
Okay, so there you go. So I left the game. I walked outside. I pondered. I was determined. I really do hate quitting crap. So I walked back in and went to Jerry and he's like, all right, you had another meeting. God, you had so many freaking meetings.
That's when you're the president.
So
you were more like the first lady. Just mad because I was at meetings all the time.
So then I started walking around, and I wish I knew the gentleman's name.
We'll call him Doug.
Let's call him Doug. He was a member of the control group.
He's very tall.
He's tall,
Bearded.
large, bearded man. And he pulled me aside. And he said...
Quite imposing, too.
He is, but yet so kind.
He was very large.
And, when we talk about... Okay, here's the thing in games.
He has a Scandinavian look about him. Didn't you agree? Like, he looked like he was from the north.
His name's probably Ivan.
He looked like he's from the north.
Ivan the kind instead of Ivan the terrible. Or is it Yvonne?
They could Yvonne.
Yvonne the kind. Speaking of Yvonne, make your bed. Dan said so.
Yeah, Evan, make your bed.
Okay.
Quit playing so much Xbox.
All right, so Ivan pulls me aside. And he says, hey, I just kind of noticed you're walking around. You left, came back. He says, is there something we can do, to help you? Are you having fun? And I poured my heart out to this guy. I was in tears.
I saw you crying over there with Yvonne.
I was in tears. I'm like, Ivan, my God, this is overwhelming. I don't know what to do. He says, I'll tell you what. And literally, this was the catalyst for me.
He was like 6'9". I literally watched him put his hand on your head.
So he says to me,
I set you up for everything that's good in your life. Go ahead.
He says, tell you what. Because I told him, I says, I just don't have a clue what to do. He says, go to the science ship. Your ship is basically defenseless because you're like Air Force One. You don't have any...
Because you were with the president.
Right. He
which
says,
was me.
You need some protection. He says, go to the science ship and ask for a large cannon to put on your ship.
A camera. A large cannon camera. We take pictures and stuff.
It's basically a ring or nest. Ring our doorbell. We're going to see you.
We're going to see you. Who's out there?
Who's docking on our ship? Who goes there?
I got that cannon.
Hello, who goes there?
I got that cannon glass.
So he says, go to the science ship and tell them to build you a cannon. And this actually triggered this was the catalyst. It triggered the rest of the game for me because I learned, and this is what I learned. This game was not about bargaining because supposedly this is a group effort to survive. Literally, you just go around asking for crap.
Yeah, you do.
That's all you... There's no bargaining. There's no trading. It's just like, hey, we need this. We're on the president's ship.
Like that,
if we don't get this, we're dead.
It's like the meme of that little child with the little porridge. Well, can I have some more, sir?
Can I have some more?
That's basically, if you don't give us fuel, we can't jump.
That's it. You go to the fuel ship, say, hey, we need fuel. You go to the water ship, say, hey, we need... And once that clicked in my brain, and once I went to that science ship and said, hey, we need a cannon, we're defenseless. The cannon guy says, well, we need this.
What does he need?
He said, we need an engineer.
You need a television?
He said, we can make you a cannon, but we need an engineer. Go get us an engineer. And off I was to the races.
There you go.
I went to the table that they make engineers. They train them.
Breed them.
So then
MIT.
I was off. So you go there, you go to that table and they say, well, to make engineers, we need this. So then you're just running around literally.
We need nerds.
Asking for stuff.
Get us nerds.
And so then all this is going on. And at the science table is where it came back to me. The science table really didn't like Bruno. They thought Bruno had...
They wouldn't talk about him.
They refused. He was very upset with Bruno.
Yes.
And so that kind of started the catalyst with them trying to impeach Bruno.
Which happens to the second part. So in one of the multiple meetings that I had, it got brought to my attention that my VP, stands for Vice President, Bruno Baronat. That's not Baronese. That they suspected that due to a bad jump that we had, where the fleet kind of had some problems with
FTL jump,
that the codes that were supposed to be very secretive, I had enacted a law because that's my job. We're president, I'm legislative, we're that I wanted a civilian person helping out, managing oversight of the FTL codes. And I trusted my VP. So that's what happened. And so then they started accusing him of incompetence. And then next thing I know, they were saying that he was a traitor. And I said, I won't stand for it. And I gave a very...
You were sitting down.
No, I never got up. That was a weird thing. I kept saying I won't stand for it. I was kind of like FDR and it not getting out of my wheelchair. I won't stand for
They
this.
were wheeling you around.
Wheeling me around.
I won't stand for it.
I just kept. Well, it got me a lot.
Weird stance to take.
It got me a lot of. It got me the sympathy vote. Everybody thought I was in a wheelchair the whole time, like wheeling me around because I had Gobby, pushing me around. Anyway, long story short,
like, no, it's polo.
Anyways, so
water.
I got it. I got you. You're wearing a polo shirt too. So I said, here, we need somebody to investigate Bruno. So I called Bruno over. I said, Bruno, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to jail. I jailed my VP. And then I said, I need somebody that we know we can trust. And I looked around the room and realized Gobby had come back. I said, Gobby, here's what you need to do.
I'm back, baby.
You need to investigate and figure out if Bruno is a traitor or not. Go about it. So literally, you were the Kojak. Who's the only bald detective I can think of? Who more than Kojak? Who's the other? You're like the Leslie Nielsen off Naked Gun 2.5. What was that guy?
I don't remember.
Drennan. That just come out of nowhere.
Wow. I don't even know if that's accurate. That sounds pretty close.
I'm looking it up, but you were like, Drennan. You were going around, don't call me Shirley. I'm looking it up.
You're mixing the airplane, but I get you. So here's the thing with this game.
I'm looking up the guy's name.
Let me tell you, I want people to know about this game.
Frank Drebin. I was so close. December 2nd, 1988. Go ahead. And O.J. Simpson was in it. R.I.P. Not him.
The bones to this game.
His wife.
Are connected by such loose, sinewy tendons.
That's a good phrase.
But the meat comes from the players.
Where did you now? Okay, did you chat?
Chad.
Okay. All right. Okay. Did you chat that again? Dadgummit. Listen, you can't.
No. So when I came back, so the beginning of this game is kind of the basics. The basics being, okay, your ship needs this to survive every round. You need this amount of food, this amount of water, this amount of fuel.
Don't get it, your ship out of luck.
Right. So, and the thing is, there is an admiral, there's the Battlestar Galactica, basically, that's like, okay, we're jumping to here, everybody needs to be with us. Well, a ship gets lost in that. The thing with Bruno was, he was accused of giving out bad codes to certain ships. The ship that I needed to investigate was conveniently lost in space. There was a whole dramatic thing. This game
got dramatic. Like high school girl dramatic.
It quickly left the bones of, oh, hey, we need water and ore and fuel to survive. And it just went to all of this drama of who is betraying who, where are these ships that have been lost at? The admiral was getting impeached. Jerry stepped down as president, put in place a puppet which he masterfully played from behind.
Listen, let's not get into my story.
But that guy also did that because that was one of his personal goals.
Well,
and
first,
he's success. I want to say this guy's success. He had a personal goal of becoming president. That's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
And this dude became president. In this game, once I got past my whole overwhelmed with what are the rules, and just accepted the fact of this is a game of literally everyone in here just go ask for stuff to survive for your ship. And then all these side stories happen with the betrayal because there are these like Cylon type characters, the wolves, and they get doled out halfway through.
They can at the beginning. And at this turn, it was at the beginning, this particular game.
So then some people, actually in this game, there was only one
wolf.
There's
just one. And to your credit, to your credit, and I want to go back to this. You investigated Bruno. You came to me and said, look, it wasn't Bruno. I already had a good feeling about Bruno. I was 99.9% sure. I just needed to make sure I wasn't getting blindsided. Your investigation, which lasted like a round and a half, you come back and say, look, Bruno didn't do it. Let's not talk about Bruno. And I said, okay. So we let Bruno out of the brig. I told everybody, look, my Secretary of State, who obviously is legit. There's no reason to suspect him as being a traitor. He investigated my VP. VP's cleared. Still later, it was venerated even more when they tested him, when they developed the technology of the last round. They demanded to test the VP. VP came back good. So Bruno was solid the entire game. So what was very proud of me, what I was very proud of was that I only had 2 people on my staff, both of which I chose, which was you and Bruno. And I just want to point this out. Everybody loved Bruno, even though they thought he was a traitor. He was the only person proved to be not a traitor. And then you quit halfway through and then did the Rudy put me in the game coach thing and came back. And next thing I know, our Air Force One has guns and you cleared our VP. Our VP had a scandal. He was a scandal.
I cleared him of it.
And you cleared him of it. And then what happened? Because I was so humble and wanted to... Now, I don't want to get into my story. I don't want to spoil this for the fans. But the humility that I showed...
was extraordinary.
Was so extraordinary that I set
You
up...
should be proud of the humility you showed.
The puppet government that I set up, that I could run from the shadows.
It was hilarious. Literally, the next president sat at our table, and Jerry literally told him what to do every step of the way.
What happened? One of the people that were the control guys come over and said, "So what happened? Did you step down?" I said, "Yeah, he's the president." He says, "Well, what's your title?" I said, "I'm the deep state." And he says, "What?" I said, "We don't have." I said, "No, I'm the deep state. I'm just the counselor / whatever.
We don't exist.
I'm the consigliere. I'm that guy." And he's like, that's not a position." I said, "There is one now." And I literally stayed where I was at and told the president what to do.
You stayed on Air Force One.
Yes.
And you had quit.
I was the Rothschild of the fleet. And they were like, "Well, you don't have a position. You don't have any rules." I was like, "I don't play by the rules. Get off my ship." And the last thing I told the president to do when they, I don't want to get in too far into this, but I may have insinuated that they were coming to assassinate him. And I said, "Look, just stop. This is the last round. Start busting caps."
They had like a big meeting, like all the dignitaries were to meet on a ship.
And then I
with
fled.
with the sus admiral.
And I fled. The admiral was super sus, as the kids say.
He was terrible.
Either way.
Okay, I wanted to say real quick what was funny. So at the end of the game, the Wolves won. We all died.
It was ambiguous, but it was very
It was ambiguous.
No, look, but I
mean,
like to think we didn't die because we
that's
fled.
fine.
We fled.
We FTL'd our way out of there.
FTL our
So what was funny was the Admiral and Jerry literally got, not literally, but in the game, got into an argument. The Admiral didn't trust Jerry, the president, and Jerry was like, "The Admiral has absolutely gone bonkers."
Now, I will hold for my next episode. Well, I will tell my story.
Okay, you're gonna
because
do that. Okay.
I very much got... there's some stuff happened.
But what was humorous was the wolf, the betrayer of the whole fleet, well, there's only one. He was on the Admiral's ship, and at the end of the game, he said, the Admiral, he didn't say, okay.
He implied it.
He implied, okay, I will say his words. He said, "I didn't have to do anything."
Right. Because
the Admiral played so poorly.
He didn't say that part.
He didn't say that part. But he said, "I didn't have to do anything." And we were all like looking at Admiral like, "What are you doing?"
Do we want to do another episode?
My heart wants to.
Well, let's cut this right here. All right, listen, Adam, we appreciate you. Listen, this is
All right,
Jerry.
This has been an amazing episode.
And
I just want to say thank you, Chad, GPT.
And Adam.
Our biggest contributor.
Adam.
Adam and Burnt Enrique.
And
get well. I'm Gabi.
This is Jerry.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tolerating this episode of the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.